Hey, it's Kristina Shea, and welcome to the Kristina Shea Show. AI meets ambition and impact, powered by Women Up. Let's talk about the future of work, leadership, and society itself. Because AI isn't just changing tools, it's changing power. So the question is, are you leading it or watching it happen? And if this sparks something in you, lean in. You're part of the conversation now. Welcome back to the Kristina Shea Show, powered by Women Up. Today, we are welcoming a true powerhouse, Whitney Hammond. Whitney is the founder and CEO of Sovereign Wealth, a certified financial planner. She is with nearly 3 decades of experience guiding clients to build strategic, lasting wealth. But her impact goes far beyond portfolios. Through Wallet to Wealth, Whitney is leading a movement, empowering women to claim financial sovereignty and build wealth on their own terms. She has already raised over $700,000, like wow, for Halton Women's Place, with a bold mission to reach 1 million, and she's almost there. And we can help support that cause too. Whitney is redefining what wealth and success means for women and challenging us all to step into our greater ownership of our future. Welcome, Whitney. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Kristina.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I've watched you progress and doing all the work that you do for many years now. And I did do a little homework on you, as you know, but I already knew a little bit about you. I see you on the buses everywhere, Wallet to Wealth, but I also know you own Sovereign Wealth Management. And I know that you've been doing that for over 3 decades, advising men and women how to plan their wealth, how to, provide for their families, but providing a plan for their future. And I was just curious, where and when, how did that mindset shift where you really wanted to really elevate women in particular in their wealth management, or just all of that beyond?
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so it's a twofold. So when I decided that I was going to focus to really calling in women, the idea came to me a few years ago where I was looking at what do I want to do next, because I was well beyond being able to retire. And was I getting bored? Not really, but I was looking for a challenge. And I can tell you that women are grossly undereducated when it comes to finance. Like, this was a big project, and I thought, this is what I'm going to do. Instead of retiring, I'll spend the next 20 years educating women on how to build significant wealth. And, I guess it goes back to childhood, thinking about all of the things that I wanted to be in my life. And let's face it, like the president of the TD Bank or Royal Bank or, all of these big corporations, they were always being headed up by men. And I didn't understand why. And I can now see why that is. And so for the next 20 years, I'm going to spend my time helping women to know that they actually can build significant wealth. And it's not about just wealth for themselves. It's about building a legacy. And see, this is what happens with the men. They build these incredible businesses. And this is what I've spent my career is working with, the owners of businesses that carry on into a second generation and a third generation. And I do all of the tax and strategy planning around that. But, this is now happening for women because as we age, we are now getting into our zone of genius. Like we've raised the children. We have the time where we can really dedicate ourselves. And when you think about it, look at, what you've done in your life. Like, women can do incredible things. They really and truly can. They just need to have some education in this area so that they don't shy away from it or do the mattress under the bed thing, which, the money under the mattress. That was pretty good. The money
what would you say, the mattress under the money?
The mattress under the bed.
The money under the bed.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. But, they have a very good point there. And, it's funny because I was on a different end in Royal Bank working in investor relations, marketing communications, campaigns and all of that, and other banks and financial institutions. And I even helped design education programs, investor education programs for IROCs, CSA, and all of those. But still, I felt that there was a gap because they don't teach you this in school. And then, people are like, oh, don't worry about that. Your husband will worry about that. So that mentality that you're brought up with. And I really feel it should be something in schools. But I really love how you have made this a mission, Wallet to Wealth, because a lot of women they're leaving marriages maybe that are not healthy. They're having to redefine or reinvent, replan their future. So to have some financial knowledge, and I know you do great things with that. My other question, though, just in terms of money, because I think this has been something I just, started developing in the last few years myself, is money mindset. And it's not just about the dollars and cents, of course, but it's about the mindset. Like money doesn't grow on trees, or, just the difficulty of how it's framed, or it's almost framed to like that if you have a lot of money, there must, something must not, you might not be a good person, or all of these things that come into play. And
Now,
yeah.
does that just fall on the female side? Because there's a lot of wealthy men, and we're not looking at them like we're looking at them as a prospect to get married to.
True. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, a man is not a plan. Like that's another thing that it's not a mindset. It was more like that, what's something I say. And I guess my mother always said, but at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of fixed belief systems around money, I guess. And I guess what would your response to be that, like, with Wallet to Wealth, how do you change some of those money mindsets, or in terms of that they can earn it and build their wealth, but also some of that fixed belief that I think is negative?
Yeah, so two things. So from Wallet to Wealth is the movement that we give women the platform so that they can, be a speaker at one of our monthly dinner events. And we have 60 ladies come for dinner. And that is really to inspire and help women to learn and grow, and also give, because that's a big thing, is being able to, give and donate money to a cause. So that's one. Keys to the Vault, that's the dinner that I do once a month, where I host and I invite women in and I teach them about wealth building strategies and tax planning. And the biggest risks obviously are our taxes, and people don't realize that. But when you bring up the comment about mindset, absolutely. So if you look at what my mindset was right from the get-go, and there's reasons why at a very young age, I just decided that I was going to build significant wealth. And I started that at the age of 2, and that was my get out of jail free from the chaoticness that I was growing up in a lot of household fighting going on around money. So for me, the solution was money, because my dad had the money and my mom was, she didn't have the money. So the mindset that we start with, it, whether it's a poverty mindset or we don't deserve something, or we've learned that money is the root of all evil. Women aren't supposed to be bold. We're supposed to be quiet. We're not supposed to come out and say, hey, I'm a multimillionaire and I'm making millions of dollars per year. Oh, no, well, we don't want to hear that. But we want to hear the guys say it, because, again, they're prospects. And where does that come from? That comes from hundreds of years ago, and not even. We only started working 80 years ago, really. But if we go back 100 years ago and prior, we were looking for the king. Like so women were competing with one another. So because that was their only way of establishing their life for their family, for their future, was to get the best guy that they could get. And money happens to come with that. So, and today it's different because it's now a double income. So things are changing, but we don't have hundreds of years behind us where the guys are wound up on the back that they are to go out and get the bacon. That's all there is to it. They go out, they get married, they raise children, and they get their job or they build their business and they start climbing up that ladder. And that's what they do. There's no emotion around it. So if I railroad you or step over you or whatever and get your position or whatever it is, that's what they do. Now with women, it's different. Like, I'm not supposed to step on you. I'm not supposed to do these things. I'm supposed to support you. I'm supposed to be nice. I'm not supposed to be more shining or more better or more something than you, more pretty, more, because you know what happens.
Oh,
you
yeah.
and I are both blondes. How many times have people taken shots at you?
Oh.
Or you can't be that smart if you're pretty.
Underestimate always. And yeah, you're pigeonholed and it's unfair and it's very frustrating. And then I guess that drives you to do more. But at the end of the day, I think it's ridiculous, but it's nice. I think there's a derivative on what that meant, and I don't know if it's Latin or Greek or whatever, but it means fool. So I was like, I researched this just recently, and I was like, that's interesting. At least I don't know if that's actually correct. You can fact check it. I don't know. But so I don't want to be called nice anymore personally. I'd be called anything else but nice. Kind. I'm okay with kind. Kind is good. But, vibrant, energetic, mission driven, ambitious. I know somebody said that to me the other day. And I said ambitious and said it correctly. They thought I said ambitious. And I'm like, okay, well,
funny.
that's funny. Then someone said, probably because my lips were dry at the time, and they said, oh, I thought you said vicious. They really like that, vicious women. I'm like, well, I don't know about that. But at the same time, it's like, it's really important that women need to know that they can be ambitious. They can have a voice. They can sit at the table. And, it is okay that you are that way and you are driven. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But yeah, we were trained from a very young age to be, I think, silent, be the workhorse, which I learned the hard way. Be the workhorse in the back, make everything happen, but you're invisible. And then certain individuals, whether they're male or female, take the credit for your work. They shine. They're the ones that are in the boardroom making the presentation, but you're the ones that are doing the work. So I think it's really, now is the time for any women to step up to the plate and be seen and be heard, but don't be in the shadows, I guess. And don't also be afraid to shine. Don't be afraid to make other people feel comfortable. And so I agree totally with so I'm going to segue, I guess, from that. And I know I had so many questions because you have such an interesting history, but you have given so much and raised so much for Halton Women's Place, which I think is fabulous. I've watched this journey, and I have a personal story with Halton Women's Place. It's a very different one. But I want to talk about your story, and you can share what you want to share. But what prompted you to do this mission? Because you have now raised over $700,000, and you're on your way to 1 million, which I think is like, I love big goals, like hairy, audacious goals. Like
this year, it'll be this year because it's doable. What prompted me to raise money for Halton Women's Place? I think it all came from the beginning, where the beginning with the chaotic upbringing, which then groomed me to be the perfect wife to get back into one of those situations. And were there women's shelters back then when my mom was younger? There may have been, but I can tell you that there was for me. And that's where I fled to with my 2 young children. I went to Halton Women's Place, and I was only there one night, and I had a moment of clarity where I realized that, oh my gosh, it's me that has to change. And I just vowed that I would start to help, because I asked myself, like, how did this happen? Because I was smart, I was educated, I had finance, I owned my own home that somebody had married me and moved into, but I had realized that suddenly I became financially held hostage, and all I had done was repeat everything that my mom had been through. So that's when I thought, okay, I'm going to go out and get multi-licensed and teach men and women how not to become financially held hostage. So hence, I created Sovereign Wealth Management. So I did that, but I vowed when I was in Halton Women's Place that I would give back. So it was like a fast fix for me. And then, so I had been quietly donating money to Halton Women's Place for over many, many years. And then I think I'll tell you what it was. It was my daughter, the younger one. She was the one that cried in the bunk bed all night long. The poor little thing. She was like not even 3 years old at that point. And that's when that was the moment of clarity. It was like, wow, you know what? This is affecting my children, and it's affecting everybody's children. So it's this whole big circle. But my younger daughter, she said to me, she said, "Mom, when are you going to come out with your story?" I'm like, "What do you mean? I own a finance
When did she ask
company."
you that?
2019.
Oh, so when I first saw that gala.
Yeah. So she said, when are you going to tell your story? When are you going to keep your promise? And I'm like, I'm keeping my promise because I'm giving them money every year. And she said, no, 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 no. She said, that's not it. You need to open up and share. And it's like, well, I can't do that in the business that I own. But anyways, I did. I took that chance with her. And we did a ton of work, and she and I created From Wallet to Wealth, and we put on the speaker events, and every year we have a gala. So we raise this money. We have speakers come who share how they found advantage in their adversity. So we have like the super women, so the guys got to see the supermen. And so now we get to see the super women. And the reason to do that is because we don't want people to give up, right? Like there's hope. And so the thing is that like what catapulted you forward, and exactly like you alluded to it a few minutes ago, is that sometimes that adversity is the pill that we need to swallow to become the super person, to be able to be the catalyst to create all this change. And so by making this movement and um, bringing women in to understand and see what's going on, to be part of the solution, right? So that we have somebody to look up to, and then we also have somebody that we can bring up. So it's in support. Because again, if you go back 100 years ago, we were competing with each other, right?
And
We were not team playing.
No, we're not. And I
So-
still feel that today to some extent, maybe not the same extreme, but I would agree, even especially in the corporate world, like it was such a scarcity of roles to be, or in any leadership position, other than, being behind a desk in a cubicle. So a lot of the women would play nasty, to be quite direct. And a lot of the men would encourage this kind of behavior and pit each other like it's to their advantage,
It was
right?
fun. It was fun for them to watch.
Yeah, it's entertainment.
We took the bullet.
Yeah. And by doing that also too, it just reinforced that scarcity and so women not collaborating together. So it serves, I'm going to be direct, it serves the patriarchy. So I was like, yeah, I figured that out a little while ago, I guess, when I was younger, but I'm like, there's no easy fix for it. It's really women being more aware of it and how they can do so much together. So, but I love this story that you shared, and it was really being vulnerable too, sharing your story with so many women. And so many women have gone through something similar, myself included. I don't always talk about it. That's another time. But I feel that the financial stress is the biggest stress when you're in that situation, because you're thinking about, well, how am I going to put a roof over my head, let alone my children's head? How am I going to feed them? And then they you get a little bit, I don't know, maybe in your own prison, in your own mind, but sometimes you just wake up and you're like, I can't live like this anymore. And I don't want my children to. So, and what you're doing for Halt Women's Place, it's creating hope. It's creating a movement too for women to rally. And just even the news was Giselle. I'm going to not pronounce her name, Pellico. She's been featured on Vogue. I don't know if you know that story. I don't want to get into it because it's really dark. But putting shame on the right side, and silence, I think, I always say it's a weapon. So being shamed into silence. And by sharing, it gives me shivers, but sharing that story that you did, the journey that you went through, it gives women hope. It gives them strength to pick themselves up. And sometimes they do need to hear that and to see someone who represents the result of doing so. So I just commend you for that. And it touches my heart. But on another hand, in terms of the money that you're raising, which is a huge number, and it's going to do so much good, I was just curious if you have anything to share on what those funds are going to be used for, if Halton Women's Place.
Oh, yeah. So Halton Women's Place has a program called the Bridge to Hope. And so what that is filling in the gap. So originally, the shelter really is almost like it's a place to run to for safety. So you can get some quiet and some peace and some time to regroup and get some counseling, and, and many women go back, and that's just part of the cycle. They go back. But the Bridge to Hope, what it is extra money where we can help women to get to the next spot, to get to, a place to rent, or, there's extra needs that they have. So we're able to fund more solutions to help them to actually get to the next step. And I do have some more ideas brewing, which we're not talking about today. But that will be after I finish this $1 million campaign this year, is then to look at what can we do next. And, I'm super, super proud that, I don't see it as a lot of money, because I live in a world of money, and I see huge amounts of money given away. And it's the women that are now opening up because that's the ladies who have given the money. So that's what's really important, because when we give, we actually receive. And when we create this energy of healing and supporting one another, and then for women to have that moment of clarity to realize that when you're raising children in these really difficult, stressful times, what happens is we're creating another generation of all sorts of discomfort and difficult situations, right? So we really need, I can't solve the world, but in the city of Burlington, like, we can really collectively work together so that we can teach people. So one of the ideas that I do have is that it would be really nice if we could actually go into the homes and help and teach these women really the basic things about, feeding your baby, and what are the things about to do in having a good relationship. You can't change another person, but you can learn how to not trauma bond with another person, and to be able to be a really good role model for your children so that they grow up and don't fall into this cycle. So there's the whole thing, and then it just goes right up to the women coming to the Wallet to Wealth, or like, the events you're having. People are learning things that they can use in their business so that they can do more business, and having the women getting to know each other so that they can do business together. The whole world revolves around ideas. Every single company that has been born has come from an idea. So, and women are creative. So I challenge them to expand on their ideas and get those ideas running and collaborate with other people. And it's in the energy where the doors open up. You don't know where the next step is. You don't know where the next, thing is coming from that will help get your idea on the road, get it going. And it's long after you and I have passed away, there's going to be many ideas and many businesses that are going to be born. But what's really cool is the lion's share of wealth is transferring over in 2027 to the women in North America. So this shows you like how we're changing. You mentioned earlier about women being divorced. Women, the average age of women being widowed is age 56. You've been through it before. And so there's women that are, there's transitions of money passing over to them, businesses that are now transitioning over to them. They're now in their zone of genius and they're building their own businesses. So this is where they're just grossly undereducated in this area, and they need to know so that they don't fall into the victimhood that we've all fallen into since the beginning of time.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I've got a lot of work to do in the next 20 years, and I can do it because I'm fine. I can just keep, spreading the message, spreading the story. And I know there was a couple of questions that you wanted to ask me about flying, which might be a good time now. So you want to go ahead?
I love how you just segue. Thank you. I was on my mind, but I think you're helping women soar, like literally with the education that you are providing. And I know it's it's an evolution, right? To get the basics and then grow from there. But one of the things that I've always been I know you had posted it, so I saw it on Facebook or wherever, that you fly. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, I scuba dive and do other things, but I've never got my pilot's license. And I know that's a very long journey, and it's a lot of hard work and hours. But I was curious on what prompted you to, become a pilot. And I guess I see some parallels, because becoming a pilot, like you're navigating weather conditions, what you would do in, I guess, economic climate of all things that are happening too, geopolitically and all that, but also risk, confidence, and a little bit of trial and error, I suppose, but hopefully nothing significant. And you're going all these amazing places. So you have your own plane. I don't know what type of plane. What is it called?
So I fly a few planes, but the one that I own is a G7. So that's a Generation 7 Cirrus, and it's an awesome airplane. It actually has a parachute. The whole airplane has a parachute. But I also fly a turbine. So the Cirrus is more to take it to the ceiling of 10, 15,000 feet. But the turbine, the TBM, we take that to 31,000 feet. So basically, the one common question that I get is, how far can you fly? And it's like, well, until I have to fill up and get some more fuel. The airplane doesn't stop. So if I got into it and just kept flying and flying and flying and didn't stop, I would just have to, get maintenance. So it doesn't, it's not limited is what I'm saying. So yeah. And why did I decide to start?
Yeah. I was just curious.
Yeah. Well, I guess what the very first reason would be because I went for a flight with a friend and I was like so afraid. And I thought like, I can't do this unless I can't sit in the seat unless I know how to be a co-pilot. I'm never going to be a pilot. I'm going to be a female co-pilot. So I went to Burlington and did my first discovery flight. Oh, and that was it. I mean, taking that plane down the runway, it was just so exhilarating. And I'm still the same today. Like just the going down the runway, taking off, it's such a high. Same thing coming in, like when I'm coming into an airport and I see the runway. It's kind of like Fred Flintstone when he used to go bat. So, but anyways, it was really interesting. So I am a pilot. I'm not a co-pilot.
I love that you made that shift, because I was like that. I know a lot of women, they second guess themselves and they put themselves in that second position.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why not just go for gold? Like,
yeah.
It's not much harder. It's really the same thing. But I mean, obviously there's more responsibility and more training, especially but in terms of, I saw a parallel because I was thinking, and also I think about blue sky thinking and going beyond that and a blue ocean strategy and all that. But blue sky thinking, it's like thinking outside the box, thinking in an elevated way where there is no limits really. But also in terms of financial advising, I feel like there could be some, at least from my perspective, I see parallels, like, as I was saying, navigating risk, confidence, all the things that go on with flying are, to me, have some parallels with financial planning.
Yeah, it's true. So it's with flying, you plan the flight and then you fly the plane, right? And so the whole thing with financial advising, I mean, I guess there's different tiers of advising. So I do a full service. So I'm kind of like, if you go to TD Private Wealth, you get 5 different people. If you come to Sovereign Wealth, you get one, because it's really not that hard to do, but I don't think. But in planning, and I know that this was one question that you wanted me to speak to. In planning, it's not about the returns and the asset allocation. I mean, the money is so easy to do, like it literally takes me 5 minutes. It's the whole planning that goes around. Most of the people are business owners. So you have just regular people for retirement planning. That's one thing. And it's really important that you work with a coach and advisor who can help you with that. But the big thing when you own a business or a family business, we get into all sorts of strategies. There's all sorts of dynamics that go on with the family. There's all sorts of emotional things going on. And that's why I say that the money part is very easy. The rest of the family part, so I'm really good at absorbing information and easily memorizing it, and so I can see the gaps and the issues that can happen, and helping people navigate around that to come out with. Because ultimately, what we want to do is we want to keep the business going. We want to keep the money rolling. We want to keep the ball going from G1 to G2 to G3. So how do we do that? And then by the time we get to G3, everyone's spread all over the place. And it's not like the old Italian family where everybody jumped in and they ran this business. It gets spread out, and a lot of times G3, that's it. It's done. The business fails. I think you probably learned that in your financial days. It's just like the G1 builds it, and we know everything. And what's interesting is G2 comes in and they tend to be excellent and better than G1, but then G3 is, they're spoiled and they don't know how to. They just don't have that. The numbers prove it, right? So to be able to keep that family going, and that's part of my job is to keep that going. There's a lot of psychology in there. And to me, it's simple because I came from a chaotic family.
Yeah. I think that's such an interesting story because a lot of our experiences frame us and where we're going, and also the experiences. Sometimes you have to have a repeat lesson once, twice, three times, but then you get there and that becomes the catalyst. And so I think that's a really great point, though, because sometimes the catalyst that started a business, it didn't always trickle down to the education, but also maybe the motivation, ambition, which is unfortunate. So protecting the legacy of what the first G1 and G2 built, I think that's a big part of what you do, obviously. But in terms of, I just want to kind of segue a little bit because you were speaking about your earlier, younger experience with your family and so on. What if you could go back, maybe not your 2-year-old Whitney, but maybe the 10-year-old version of Whitney, maybe with everything that you know now, what advice would you give her?
Interesting. Yeah, I would say, um, because of my life, my commentary would be is wit. When you're speaking to a man, say what you want and leave the room.
Oh, I like that.
Mhm.
Mic drop.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That took me like over 60 years to learn. And I think that men naturally want to please and support. They're loyal, they want to help, and they don't always understand. And so we go on these long, elaborate stories, and they're just like, what is it that you need? Right. And by the time we get to their story, we're like, well, I don't even know. So that would be my comment would be say what you want and leave the room.
I love
That's it.
I love that. Simplicity is key. I've learned this the hard way too. Being direct is usually the best. Depending on the situation, kindness is nice, but depending on the situation, but being direct. And I think sometimes men appreciate that more, but I love the mic drop of leave the room because that gives them real pause. Just like what just happened in that message, whatever it is, really, I think sinks in.
It lets them think about it because they like to think something through. So they're not, they don't want to just throw the answer out right away. They like to weigh it and think about it. And they like to have their solution and their contribution. So I love the dynamics between women and men. I think that here's another piece of advice that I would give to myself is that so I was a real tomboy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there wasn't anything girly girl about me. So I don't know how I became this way, but geez. I mean, I would have poked your eyeballs out like when we were kids.
I grew up with 4 brothers, so I was a tomboy, but a tomboy in a dress. So a tomboy, whatever. But yeah, I grew up a little scrappy, but I
Yeah.
always wore a dress. That was
So
the funny thing.
yeah. So I think so the other piece of advice I would say, and I would give this to all women today. So not only myself as a child, but to all women, the power is in our femininity, and it's really important to find that. And I think that the way the world is working today with the go, 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 I have to get these things done. And, there's so many divorces and, everyone's putting everybody down is to really reach in and, pull out that feminine woman because and I see it all the time when I watch people, I'm always observing people and especially too dealing with, some pretty powerful, female business owners. Holy smokes, like they can be so masculine and it's like, but that's not where your power is. Where you're dealing with men, they're gonna hear the soft side of you. That's what they love, and that's what makes a relationship, whether it's a husband-wife, boyfriend-girlfriend, or, business relationship, is to, allow each person to have their strength. And so the male and the masculine, that's the advice too to the men is like, "Don't lose your masculinity.
I
Please, we
agree.
need men." So, use your masculine energy and for women to know that their power is in their feminine energy, and men love that. So when you're yelling
love
at
that.
them and telling them what to do and all of that, you just like you've lost your guy, because some other woman's going to come along who's, delicate and vulnerable and feminine, and he's going to be real attracted to her. So think about
That's very true. Yeah, because I remember, even just, I mean, in the financial world, I wasn't a realist, an investment advisor or anything like that. I was more investor relations marketing, but working in that environment, you would try to blend in and you'd almost you try to model what a male, a leader would be doing. That could be behavior. It could even be in the way you dress. But I sort of went back to my femininity because I really love wearing feminine clothes, and I love fashion, and you can still look good and be powerful and still be feminine. So I love that message for women, because I think femininity is strength. It is power, and it can be calm power, and it can be kind, but it also can be strong. And I think more women need to hear that. And just even with each other too. I think collaboration, and that's what I really do believe in, is collaboration. But I really appreciate that share, because I've been trying to think what I would tell myself. I think I would tell myself a few things, but they are on similar veins, but be clear and be direct. And I think sometimes women, how we speak with each other or even others, we're trying to save each other's feelings. And I get we have to be kind still, yes, and how we deliver things. But at the end of the day, you're not being kind to yourself or the other person if you're not clearly communicating what you need to either help them or help yourself. So then you're doing nobody any favor. So that was one of the things. I think that nice word. I do not believe in being nice anymore. I don't like the term, I suppose, but
no, we're supposed to be prim and
yeah.
proper and nice and
Yeah. And, but you can fly planes now. Women can make their own money. We pay our own taxes. We can own houses. We have credit cards, the things that we didn't have before. We have freedom and the ability. So we need to shed some of these beliefs.
well, and also too, I want to address the glass ceiling, because that
Yes.
you did not bring that up in your questions. And so it's such a controversial topic. Are you okay to go here?
Yeah, absolutely. Take anything on. This is like
Okay.
open door policy,
Yeah,
open mic policy.
So I think it's so get away. We could be creating our own glass ceilings today, but I think it's really important for people to maybe look at is there a way to reframe this? Because so I haven't worked in corporate, so you have, so you would understand this differently than myself. I'm in a male-dominated industry. I started into this business after my dad firmly telling me for 12 years in a row that I could never do this. You can't do it. Women don't do it. Super, super frustrated. And that's all I wanted to do was to do this business. And finally, I disobeyed him at the age of 32.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a long time to really mourn. Even though I owned business, I was always an entrepreneur all through my 20s. I did very well, but there's the thing about making money and feeling fulfilled. Two different things. Money doesn't fulfill you, but the cause of what you're doing. So I never experienced the glass ceiling, but what I did experience was the feeling like a second class citizen all of my life. Well, not now, but when I was younger, because of the way I was raised by an Eastern European family, and my father had me very late in life, so it was just a different generation. So maybe subconsciously I entered a male-dominated industry because I just wanted to kick their butts. I wanted to get ahead of all of them. I wanted to make more money than them. I wanted to become more wealthier than them. I wanted to just do it all. And I have to say, the one thing in my career is that I owe a lot of my success to my colleagues, to the men that helped me climb throughout the decades. They were amazing in teaching me, having my back. So I learned from the top people. And in the glass ceiling, what I can see is that in teaching women about being grossly undereducated and served in finance, is that there is a gap. There's a large gap. So think about it. Many of us have families, so we have our first baby, we're out of work for a year, right? Then we have our second baby, we're out of work for another year. Then the child is sick at daycare and we get the phone call, okay, come and pick the child up. All right, I'm coming. Or now I've got to go take the child to the dentist. So we spend a lot of time in the beginning of our career taking care of a home, children, and a spouse. And so what we do is we translate that into a glass ceiling. So here's the thing. Men who get to the top of the corporations, you've seen this, they're working 100 hours a week.
They're working hard. Yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
They're not picking kids up from daycare.
They're not making dinner. They're not cooking. They're not
No.
making appointments for. It's all that unseen, invisible labor.
Yeah.
I totally understand.
So I just think it needs to be reframed for women to not feel defeated, because that's a really defeating situation, is that, well, I'll never get up there because of this glass ceiling. No, you can get there. Maybe it's not in a corporation, because many women today are becoming self-employed. So you can find your own success in your own business. But if you are trying to climb that corporate ladder, you can forget about work-life balance, because that's not what it's about. The president, who's the president of the TD Bank, they're not looking for somebody that has, I've got this fabulous work-life balance and I just know how to zen out. And no, they're looking for a guy who doesn't care about anything except showing up for work, staying at work, getting it done, delegating, coming up with the ideas, being the figurehead, being the leader that other people want to follow, and be able to take the grief and the stress that comes along with it. So if you want to sign up for that position, knock yourself out, go and do it, and you might find yourself feeling like you're in a heartless position, where we're not heartless. Like women, we're not, it's like what you say, like we don't want to hurt each other. So I think that we just need to reframe all of that and encourage more ladies to get into the self-employed world. And if you are working in a corporation, just understand that these are the things that happen. I run a company. I know what it's like when girls go on mat leave. I know my guys never tell me they're going to the dentist, but the girls do. So think about your own behavior. That's what we need to do. We need to own what's going on with ourselves, right? And so this is why I think that it's changing, because the majority of women now are over 50. We've raised our children, and like we're ready to let it rip. And so life doesn't pass you by, because at 50 you say, well, gee, I didn't get it. I didn't get to the top by the time I'm 50. It's like, no, just start. I mean, I look at where I was at when I was 50. Yes, I was much further ahead. But if we go through all the decades, I just kept building and building and building. And so my growth now, this year I'm 62. So my growth from this year for, let's say until 82, it's going to be way bigger than it was in the first 60 years of my life, because I've got some experience
Life
now.
experience compounds.
And I know how to work. I know how to, put the hours in. I one of the reasons why I fly an airplane is so that I don't become a workaholic, right? When I get in that plane, I am gone. I am free. You can't call me. You can't text me. You can't email me. You can't reach me. And not because I can't receive your call. It's because I'm in a different frame of mind. When I'm flying, I got to keep myself alive. And you're not keeping me alive if you're trying to talk to me when I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do. So, and that's actually a lot about with guys, like they're really zeroed in, focused in on what they're doing, and they don't let the noise distract them. So I write a lot of articles. I love writing when I'm flying, because my head is completely in a different space. I'm in the air for many hours, and so you reach a point where basically you're you're in autopilot and you're just monitoring everything. But I do have time to sit and type on my my iPad, because my iPad sits with me on every flight. And so I just know that I'm in a different space. So I can write some really cool things. So I've written some really cool articles for business owners that if they follow the steps, and that I just did for a friend of mine who was publishing, and she's like, oh my God, can you keep writing for me? And what's really neat is that she slowed down on her magazines. And I said, no, you got to bring those out again. And she's like, will you write? I said, I'll write the whole thing for you. I don't care. So, and I did that just when I went down on my trip in January. And I wrote her. I thought, I was like, they're so good. And I was like, where do I get this from? Because if I was sitting on the ground, like that would not, I'm better at math than words.
That's such a really great tip though, is like, if you're getting involved with something, you're making time for that. So you're not always sitting behind the computer. There's so many great points you said there, but just being on a different level because you're, in the sky, you can't talk to anyone. And so you're doing your zone of genius, really, I think. And I think that's amazing content too, that's really needed and to be shared and distributed. So I think that's amazing. And then going back to the glass ceiling, I don't know why I didn't ask the question. It's actually, I guess I hate the term glass ceiling, I think is really what it is. Because I try not to think about that. Yes. And you mentioned the word second class citizen. And that's how I have felt a lot, just trying to navigate corporate. And yeah, there's no work-life balance there at all. A short snippet is like I collapsed in the financial district from overworking. And for 10 years, I think I slept 3 hours, and I'm not joking, a night for 10 years. It takes a toll on your body. But so there is no work-life balance and very little reward at the end of it. And so something happens, like you're gone. You're like, that's it. And you worked for a company. But if you're building your own company and your own legacy, your own future, and also being fulfilled in what you do, I think that is next level. And to have someone like yourself who can, support with education and writing those articles and things like that, that really can, and give people insight and maybe propel them to move forward with something that they've always thought they could do as a business idea or a passion. I think that's super, super amazing. So in terms of legacy too, because I think that is a lot of what you're building yourself and you're building for others. And I know I had an interesting question, I guess I thought it was anyway, because you are doing that kind of work. What is your mission right now to build with your own legacy? And I'll give a part 2 to that. And it's more playful, but if there was a headline to be written about your legacy, what would you want it to say?
Oh boy. Um, well, first of all, it's our time as women. It's our time. So, the legacy that I mean, got another 20 years, but I would say right now, it would be the inspiration to really show women, teach women, support women. I mean, this is so cool because I don't charge for this. Like there are coaches running around. It's the biggest industry right now, and they'll take your money.
Oh yeah.
And they don't have any of themselves. So I really get to show people what it's like through what I've done. And so, yeah, my legacy is going to be change. I want to create the change in a lot of different women so that they would be where they are today because of the change that I instilled in them, which would be their self-esteem. Because really, that's what it is. It's a self-esteem, and it's the idea, it's the creativity. So I teach the keys to the vault. I say to women that that's what I love about that too. I never talk about investments. It's like, who wants to talk about that? It's so easy. I teach them about what's the next idea, right? So think about it. I don't know if you have dogs, but I have dogs, and they've got those things that you clip into the back seat. They put the seat belts on, or you seat belt them in. Well, I don't know when those came out, but somebody thought of those, right? And it could have just been anybody who said, because I remember I didn't like putting my dogs in the car and driving up to the lake, right? That really bothered me. And I didn't have any way of buckling them in, and somebody created the seatbelt. So that's just one thing. But every person has a idea in their head of, gee, if I just had this tool, I could get this done, this, whatchamacallit, right? And we all have a whatchamacallit in the back of our head. So go make that thing. Go create it. We've got platforms now that you can make stuff and put them on the platform and sell it to people. The world is so small, and I mean, we live in a capital world, right? Like, this is a capitalist society, so we can't get away from that, right? Like, we can't just be living on kumbaya. So come up with a great idea, a great service, charge for that service, charge for that item, and dream about what you want that to look like. Like, what would life be like if I was rolling in X amount of dollars per year marketing a service or a product that I really dig and that I really, really believe in? Because that's actually where women do come from. It's like they want to move things that move them, right? And so go ahead and do that. Don't sit on the sideline saying, well, like, I can't get it done, or I had the kids, or, it's a glass ceiling. There's a lot of reasons why we can never do anything in life. Being held hostage, not having any self-esteem. I think that's the biggest one for women, is that we don't want to take something on unless we really, really, really know it. And I love what guys do. They'll have like 20% or 40% knowledge, and they'll be, oh yeah, okay, I'll do that. And then they just learn it as they go. So here's a news flash for you folks. When you get your pilot's license, you actually don't know how to fly.
Really?
That's when you learn how to fly. That's when you get in that plane all by yourself and you start flying all over the place and scared to death. And that's when you learn how to do things. So sitting on the sidelines and saying, well, I'm going to do something when I really, really know and understand how to do it, well, that's just going to pass you by, because something else is going to come up, and because the world is moving so quickly
fast
today. Just jump in there, the cart before the horse, the horse before the cart. Put the cart before the horse. Just get out there. It doesn't have to be some elaborate plan, but there are some really great habits that you can put in place that will help you get to where you want to get to. And again, it's just being with the right energy, being with the right people, either having yourself a coach. And I would ask a coach, seriously, show me what you have before I start working with you. And finding some support that can help you to get, even the girls in Wallet to Wealth, they're all supporting each other. And I like that. Like, I get to, pick and say, hey, will you be our speaker? And then people get to come and see you and get to know you and enjoy a great dinner together. And then all the friendships that have come out of that are really neat, all in the spirit of giving, eh? In giving. They're getting together because we're giving money to Halton Women's Place. We're not, trying to sell you vitamins and stuff like that. It's all these really neat connections in the spirit of giving.
I think that there's so many takeaways there. I'm trying to remember even where to start, but yeah, I think Give to Gain is like the International Women's Day theme this year. And I feel like women do give a lot already. But I feel like there's so much reward in giving, whether it's your time, your resources. I give time to help women with their marketing and AI. Actually, I'm going to segue because you're talking about how fast things are going. And I was just curious, from your lens in the investment world, how do you see, not that necessarily you're using it necessarily in specifically those contexts, but how do you see AI affecting the investment landscape or the financial advisory landscape?
We've had a huge shift since that big financial crisis that we had in 2009. So there's already been significant changes. So a lot, it used to be if you've got your CF. Oh, why am I afraid? CA. Not your CA. Your C. I'm drawing a blank right now, but
some abbreviation, CFP, CF, whatever.
I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but anyways, it used to be that you would guaranteed get a job on Bay Street.
Oh,
and that all went out the window. So we have a lot being done with computer. There's a lot of stuff being done with computer. And as far as AI goes, I'm sure that's all going to run into that, because everything is all about efficiencies. The whole thing about the stock market is buying good companies that are profitable, that pay good dividends. And so we have all sorts of stuff coming off of that, exchange traded funds. And, we have all sorts of computer trading going on. And so now you see the stock market go up 1,000 points and then it goes down 1,000. And people are like, oh, how does that happen? It's like, well, because there's just a lot of computer trading going on because there's no thought in there. It's like, well, if the trend is moving this way, then the computers are in the buys. If the trend is going that way, then the computers are in the sells. So, that will, I think, but the basics are always going to be buying good companies that pay dividends on a quarterly basis. In the business, and we're seeing this now in note taking, you see it with doctors. So with financial advisory, we do have a lot, excuse me, of a lot of compliance. So that will help and pick up a lot of the compliance and help people to move forward. But I do caution, excuse me, I do caution that be careful how fast you're going, because in 2020, just prior to 2020, we were pretty much doing business face to face. And then suddenly we started escalating our businesses because, accountants can now do 2-3 times because we're not spending all the time with the people. They can quickly do things on a video call, DocuSign. And so what happens is error will happen when you're serving way too fast. So it's the same thing. Buy really good companies that pay great dividends. It's going back to the basics. Relationships are the most important thing. So in this advisory business, do I ever see it reducing or going away? No, because I can tell you I get between 200 to 400 emails a day. And if it was going away, people would not be asking me questions. So I'm busy. People are hungry for information. They're hungry for support. Yeah, AI is not going to replace us, that's for sure. I think it's going to help with some efficiencies. But again, you don't want to be going too fast, especially when it comes to this kind of stuff.
I would agree. It's like take some caution. It is moving so fast and people are putting a little bit too much blind trust in it. So that's great advice for anybody out there who's like following the AI bubble on investments and so on. And also just fraud for that matter.
Mm.
That's a huge thing, especially if you're dealing with people virtually and you're just jumping on an AI bubble investment. These are, challenging. I'm very much about AI with productivity and efficiency, but I'm also very about human first. And here we are doing a podcast, human first. And that's how I like it because relationships are key to everything that we do. And I think people are going to crave that more and more. And I think that's why they also love Wallet to Wealth, because people are sitting there, they're at a real table connecting with real women, learning real advice and expertise from someone who's really done it. So I want to say thank you again, but I do have one last question. I don't know if there's any questions that I forgot, but the one last question, when you hear the term or the phrase women up, what does that come to mind? What does it mean to you?
Oh, well, I think just exactly like the galas that we have, right? It's just that, it's that like we're elevating each other. And I think it's really important that we continue to do that. So women elevating each other, because I do believe that men elevate women too. So, but where we have a gap is that the women aren't elevating each other. So I think it's really important and I like it. And so that was one of the things that attracted myself to you. So of course I meet so many ladies, and I do remember seeing you at different things, and then getting closer and getting closer. And it's like the one thing that I saw about you is that you genuinely give. Because I see a lot of stuff where there's a lot of takers. So yes, women are very giving, but they're also very taking. I have noticed that. And I'm like, and so I can see through that quickly. But I saw with you that, man, you're just really, really giving, and I love what you're doing. And I just I want more of you, because I think that we're doing the same thing, and it's not about us. Like we're already on a mission. We've already moved up. right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm still move up because I feel like I'm never quite happy where I am. But and I admire you, to be honest. So I've kind of watched you grow and progress and everything that you're doing, and very successful, obviously professionally, but I also admired because it's always been a mission of mine. Probably because I did come from, challenging upbringing, and also just, in the workforce. And then, yes, being blonde has its advantages, but also has its disadvantages. And for some reason, if you're attractive, people don't think that you're, not that I'm really saying I'm all that attractive, but maybe I'm not too shabby. So, and you are definitely a very beautiful woman, inside and out, but you're also very accomplished. And I think that, I would like to see women raising each other up more and more. And that is so integral. And even when I do my Women Up, I'm starting this. I just started this before Christmas, but it's been on my mind for like years. And something just came. I woke up one morning just before Christmas, and I'm like, screw it, I'm just going to do it and see who shows up. And I still haven't got all my stuff together, but I'm going as fast as I can because I feel like it is a mission. It propels me in the morning. And I know the more that message, that ripple of impact, I think that's kind of a saying now, ROI, or a return of impact. I think it's huge. And when one person does it, another person does it, it's contagious. And the one thing I also do say as a rule in my group, it's like, this is about bringing women together. We work together. Hopefully we can all refer each other, do business. That's a side, benefit of it, hopefully down the road. But also we're not here to tear each other down. This is like in my circle, because I've created this, I'm like, we're here to raise each other up, period. And that's it. And so creating that frequency and that vibration of positive energy. And, and we are all in different seasons in our life. And sometimes you're in a great season, and sometimes something happens and you're back down. But it's also having to show other women that they can do it, give them the hope like that you do, and that resilience factor. And, I've had some tough times in my life, absolutely. And, sometimes you think, geez, and if I wish I'd had a circle of women that could have supported, because I just had to do it on my own because I didn't really know any better. I didn't know I should reach out for help. And I think that's one of the things too about when you shared your story, is that you showed you can be vulnerable and you can be strong at the same time. And I don't know what that Japanese pottery is, but you know how they fill it in with gold? It's broken pottery. I don't know if you know this art. I'll have to share it with you after if you've never heard of it. I know there's a term for it and I can't remember, but it's like Japanese tradition, or it's like basically pottery that's been broken, not on purpose, but who knows. But then they fill it and they put it back together with like a gold filigree or real gold. And it's actually more beautiful than when it started, because I used to always say, or feel that I couldn't share or show my cracks. I used to call it my cracks, and especially working in corporate environment or any environment for that matter. And sometimes just showing them, you don't have to show them all of it, but just showing a little bit so it can give people some hope, some story, some inspiration. And if she can do it, I can do it. But also those cracks make you more beautiful, I think, as a person. So I want to say thank you. And if there's anything else you want to share, Whitney, the floor is yours. But I do want people to know how to reach and connect with you. We're going to be sharing them in the notes, of course. But how can people reach you directly?
Oh my goodness. You know what? Come to an event. Come to an event. Because I do have a lot of people reaching out. And so I am open and friendly and warm. But I also, I do have people asking me for selfish reasons to get together. So I don't like that. But the next event is March the 10th, from Wallet to Wealth. So we have a female speaker who's going to be talking to us about living with menopause, so beyond menopause, which I think is really cool. And then on the 26th, we have Dave Conway. We're going to do From Wallet to Wealth. We're going to actually do a workshop. So instead of Dave, doing a talk, we're going to work. We're going to work for 3 hours.
I love that.
Oh, I do too. And he goes, no food for it, no food. And I'm like, no, we're going to eat. We're going to eat and we're going to work. We're going to do this. I'm just thinking about whether to cap the tickets. Oh, by the way, the tickets are all non-for-profit. I have a deal with Cherry House Restaurant, and so there's a package deal. I pay for it, and then the money's collected. So there's no profit in that. And then we have yourself.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So that is April the 16th. So that's where we're at for Wallet to Wealth. Keys to the Vault. Okay, Keys to the Vault is a private dinner that I do. If you're following me, just look up Whitney Hammond. I mean,
yes, you'll find her on a bus somewhere too. I don't mean on the bus. I mean she's wrapped to the bus.
Yeah. So it there's there's constant things coming out on social media, but we actually have like a really good website. So wallettowealth.ca that talks about all sorts of different things. Ambassadors. So we just opened up to our ambassadors. And that, by the way, that is a really, really good opportunity. So that's actually where I've gotten my best friends. So every year we open up to let new ladies in, and we have Dave Conway, who is a mindset coach, and he's a highly paid mindset coach who is actually donating his time to work with us. So we're having a mastermind. We do this is our third year. So we mastermind once a month. It's the first Tuesday of every month at 4 p.m. So we get together on a Zoom call, and Dave will teach us and actually give us habits of what it is that we're working on. And he's going to really, really help with women, really leveling up what you're talking about. And so we make a donation to Halton Women's Place, and that's how you get into that.
I love like that.
Yeah, and that's capped too. So we'll only allow so many in for that. But that's just what I've seen in the last 2 years. The growth of the women that have been in that group is just, it's unbelievable where they've taken their businesses to. And basically what he's doing is he teaches us about how the mind actually works. So it's an actual science. It's not a voodoo thing. It's a science of how to actually, first of all, define what it is you want. Because, I went through many years of my life going, I don't know what I want. I just want to make a lot of money. Okay. and then, but then there's like, oh, wait, no, there's like way more stuff that you can call into your life. It's just amazing. Like, it's actually endless. So he'll teach you how to do that, and then actually how to call that in. So it's not work, and we're not running around trying to raise money. We're actually working on ourselves, and that energy is what brings it in. You know what? When we started the ambassador, so it was like 2 years ago, because this is just starting into our third. So 2 years ago, Dave and I sat down. We're like, hey, we're going to come up with this idea. This is what we're going to do. So we're going to raise $250,000. And it's like, I'm sitting there and I was like, what? Like, what? Like, I'm working and I think in the first year, the gala made $15,000, and I think that the year prior to starting the ambassadorship, worked my brains out, and I think I made something like 92,000.
Wow.
And so now I'm calling out that, okay, we're going to do this, and we're going to do 250,000. And so I'm thinking like, so I'm busy, and yeah, I run Sovereign Wealth Management, but I have other companies that are running too, right? And I do the charity work, and I'm flying all over the world. And now I just signed up to raise $250,000 for Halton Women's Place. Like, what? Where? How? And so here, you know what? With your mind, brought in over $300,000, and I did not work for that. I brought that all in with my mind, and collectively with other girls getting together, we were at the end of the year, we're like, where did that come from? It's like, who's to take the time to account where all that money came from? Because we just, and I had to fight to get my own little Givergy app. That's the other thing too. Like, things just don't come easy. You just have to like poke people's eyes out to say, like, you're going to give this to me, period. You're going to give it to me nicely or not, but it's coming. And I need a way to funnel this money in. And so just give it to me. Right. And so finally, that happened, and it's been an amazing tool because, and we could just make this even way bigger, right? It's just because it's so easy to put money into this. And there's people like, and I see people. I just had somebody in this afternoon who's like, I got all this money to invest, to donate. Like, I'm ready to do it, because many of us have a discipline where we know we should give away some of our money. We tithe it to the church, or we give it to different charities, and if you talk to people who are successful, they'll tell you, oh yeah, this is what I do. I quietly give money to this, wherever it is. So, and that's all it's all the part about, upping, talking about women up, $50. I was getting like $50 donations and I'm like, what is this? And then I would go to the Halton Women's Place Gala, and then we would do this thing. It was like, okay, everyone's going to put up their hand, and so a guy puts up his hand and he's going to give $100,000, and it's like, well, where's the woman? So I'll tell you what's going to happen. There is going to be a day that I write a check for $1 million, and I'm going to give that money away. And that day is coming, and I'm going to write that check. So, and I think that should be a goal for other women, is to have a goal of how much money you can give away. Because when you're giving $50, it's the thing, it's like, well, I don't know if I can open my purse. It's like $50. Like if you give it out, it's going to come back. It'll come back in spades. And it's the whole energy of how things work. So, I can't wait for the day to write that check.
Well, I look forward to the day that you do, and I'd love to have you back on the show even sooner before that. I don't know how fast you can manifest and make that happen, but I think that is such a beautiful goal and so aspirational, inspirational for other women. Because, when you go to a lot of these functions, you do see a lot of the men doing the
they were doing $50.
I know. And it's like, it's not a good thing.
But it's okay. You know what? It's like, I understand the psychology behind it. The reason why is because many women, we're afraid and we're vulnerable. And if we don't have that security of the nest egg and the money, then what's going to happen to us, right? Like, how many of us have been married and we don't want to be married? Oh my God, that's the worst thing, to be stuck in this marriage and you're held hostage and you have this fear of not being able to make it on your own. But you can. And the women that I talk to, it's like amazing. It's like, we have this common phrase. It's like, I'm making way more money now. I've got way more money now than when I was married. Right? It's so opposite. Like you think about, well, we need two people to save, and then you just see these. So it started, I remember, I'm terrible with movie stars. Tom Cruise was married to the Australian girl.
Nicole Kidman.
And I read this years ago, and they said, did you ever notice how Nicole's career took off when she got divorced? Yeah. And it was like, she did movie after movie after movie after movie after movie. And so in the world that I live in, like I have seen women and I'm telling you, I without breaking confidence, but I've seen women start incredible businesses after the age of 55, where they're actually tracking where they're going to have $100 million, right? And these are women that don't have the skills or the education or anything, but they have the drive that they really wanted to serve. And the level that they're serving at, sure, there's a product or products or stores or franchise chain, stuff like that. So they've got these businesses going. But the thing is that here's the business, right? But here's the real business. Because the real business with the women is how they're developing who is working with them, because they're developing all these careers that the staff that are working inside these companies. And they're mentoring them because it's being run by a woman. It's being run so differently because these women are cultivating these women into these roles, supervisor, now you're going to be, assistant VP, whatever they are, and they're helping them up the ladder. And instead of the cutthroat, the industry that you came from, that is very, very cutthroat. But I got to say, man, I said it this morning. I don't know if I could say it on this. You can
say it, please. If you want. I love it.
I was talking to a VP earlier today, and I said, I'll tell you how I feel. You have the guys with the big swinging dicks, right? Like the big swinging dick just walked in the room. And I said, I just feel like I have a big dick. And he just fell over laughing, going what the hell does that mean? And it's because I'm established. And it's and we laugh at the guys that come in the room with the big swinging dick, And so when you're able to build that foundation and establish a certain amount of wealth. You're at a different level. You're meeting different people. Different doors are opening up. Different charity opportunities. Different I've got a whole bunch of ideas that I'm collaborating with some other people, girls that were dreaming up some really, really cool things that are going to happen. And while we're dreaming up all these things, like, we're just watching each other's businesses rocket. So it's that energy of things coming. So it used to go to the guys, but sorry, it's now coming to the girls, or maybe it's coming to the girls and the guys. It's not a gender thing. It's more about our paradigm. Right? Like,
Yes.
I was supposed to get married and have children, and my husband was gonna buy me this really big house, and you know what? That didn't happen. I had children. I
And
and I
you
was married,
Mhm.
but I haven't been married for 25 years, and by the way, we'll just wrap this up. I bought my own 13,000 square foot house. I moved in June. I It's
Congratulations, first of
amazing.
all. That's what I was going
Yeah.
to say because I did see you post and, yeah, you go
Yeah.
big or go home, but you're going big and you're going home at the same time.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So you know what? It's 40 stairs. So when I'm in my bedroom and I'm like, I got to go down into the basement, it's 40 stairs down and it's 40 stairs back up again. And it's 23 when I'm putting the dogs out in the morning. I get up, I run down, 23 down, back up.
Wow.
Then I got to go down. And then if I'm going across, I'm doing a lot of steps in the daytime. But I got to tell you, when I run through that house, it's like, I feel so, it's like,
You should.
this is where I was supposed to always be. I dreamt about, I seriously saw that house when I was 5. The bedrooms on top of the garage, the rounded driveway, the whole house, and then bang, I found it in real life. And so the pain of wanting that so badly in my life and trying to find the right husband who was going to buy it for me, and I really thought that's the way it was supposed to go. And then suddenly, when I was studying the mind, and then it was like, wait a second, I got to do this myself. Because if I do it myself, then I can show other people. And you know what's really, really cool is that once I made that decision, it was just like, whoop, the money just came in. And it was like, oh, okay, I'm moving. And that was without my other house. It sat on the market for so long.
I didn't
So,
realize that I was like a 5-minute walk from you for all these years. I had no clue. But yeah, it's interesting. The paradigm shift though, like that's I think is just rethinking things, right? That might be a goal that you wanted that house, but you never put the dots together. Well, I need to do it. I don't need a man to facilitate that. And I think that is really key for everyone listening to this is like really yeah, paradigm shift
do it
and
yourself.
do it
Go
yourself.
and do it yourself. So now I think it's like, oh, when we're all old and everything, like, I've got 7 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms. Maybe a whole bunch of ladies will be living in there with me when we're all old and gray, because we don't need the nursing home. We've got it.
Yeah, yeah, you've got that's a really great setup. Golden Girls, like, but yeah, in the modern day version of. So I love that. Thank you so much, Whitney. And again,
Thank you.
everybody who's listening, I know we kind of segue, but Wallet to Wealth, connect, attend an event, support a great cause, Halterman's Place, and much, much more. Support women. And thank you, Whitney. It was such a pleasure and a delight to have you here. And I really would like to have you on again in the future, especially when you do reach the 1 million, but even before perhaps. But I got a feeling it's going to happen sooner than later. So congratulations again on everything you're doing and your work and all that you do and give to women. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And just and join us. Like, whoever listens to I love podcasts, but love playing them in my car when, just get into this energy, join, and your classes. Like, I will be coming. I'm just dying to come to your classes. And because for a couple of reasons. One is I want to support you. That's one. The
Oh,
other
thank
one
you.
is I want to be in your energy, right? So, and it's
Oh,
in this energy that we create. You'll just see it's going to catapult. There's just more and more and more ladies who come, and then they catch on to this energy where all of our dreams can come true. Like, let's do that before we die. Let's just get all of our dreams to come true. Because, you think about it, like we were such dreamers when we were little girls, and what we played with and stuff. And, the Barbies and the big house and the Ken.
Oh
Oh
my gosh.
gosh.
Yeah.
And so all that fairy tale stuff and how the guy was going to make everything better for us. And I still do believe in fairy tales and romance and love and all of that. And I think it's fabulous. But yeah, just ladies, let's do it. Let's women up.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, let's women up, power up, level up, and wallet to wealth. So let's grow together. And thank you. Thank you. And I feel very blessed that you took the time to be on the Kristina Shea Show, powered by Women Up. And we'll see you all soon. Thank you. If this sparked something in you, don't ignore it. The future isn't something we wait for. It's something we step into. Thank you for being here, for being part of the conversation, and for choosing to lead in what comes next. This is the Kristina Shea Show, AI meets ambition and impact, powered by Women Up. I'll see you next time.